are. It's Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. How you doing? What up, what up? It's Sunday. Came to sit outside with you today while we do our last day. The last day of the 7-day Wayfree Way challenge. As easy as it's been this week, or as difficult as it's been this week, or as crazy as it's been this week. We're here, right? We're live. We're doing it. We are here. Hi, Mr. Puppers. So, yeah, how are you doing? I got Mr. Thomas Puppers with me. I got him with me today. He'll be walking around in the back. So how you doing? Yeah, how you doing? For real. It's Sunday. Have you done the other videos? Say what's up if you're here. Oh, I see somebody's on here with me. Somebody's come on. It's Ken. What's up, Ken? How you doing? How you doing? Have you been making oils lately? I have not seen any posts or anything about your oils lately. My chickens are over there enjoying some tomatoes. So yeah, have you done the videos? Have you watched the previous videos of the 7-day challenge? This is the last one. The last one for now. And then we'll dive back into it a little deeper. So yeah, 7th day. Say what's up if you're here. This is live for you, whether you're watching my video on replay or you're watching it live. It's live for you. You're here now. You're doing it now. It's happening right now for you. You're giving your attention to it, so it's live. So say what's up. How you doing? Give me a thumbs up or a heart or some waves or something. Let me know you're here. Participate. But yeah, so if you've been watching the videos, we are on to day 7 now. This is the last day of the 7-day challenge. We have had mindset, we had our physical body, we've had faith and spirituality, education and higher learning, and yesterday we had economics, our dollar bills, how we spend our money. And you know, I really wanted to add something to the money the money challenge for you until we go back through and kind of dive into those deeper this next coming weeks. But the big thing with money that so many people, I think, confuse themselves with, and not for any other reason than that's what we've been taught. That's what the world shows us, and then practically everything is that money holds some sort of special value. You know, that it's like priceless. That it's, you know, it's just your ticket, and that's just not the case. It's just the thing we've put on it, you know. And money is literally a piece of paper. It isn't backed by anything anymore. It has no value. It's just what we've decided to trade and use for trade and in exchange for our time. So it has no value. We give it value. We give it the value that it has, that we place on it. And some people place a lot of value on that paper, and some people don't place any value over it more than a meal or a bottle of water or you know, an article of clothing. You know, money was made up for exchange of goods. So if you don't need lots of goods, or if you can establish your time set up the way you want to live it, and you're not always living in a recycle kind of world, money has a whole different value. So I really just want you to remember that I understand that that's the thing that drives so much of so many things of so many people's lives, but it's because we've done that. We've organized it that way. We've chosen it that way, and a lot of people are really unclear about how they want to spend their time, And so therefore they just believe that, oh, well, if I just can get more money, then I'll have more time and I can pick how I want to live my life. I can live better if I can just have more money. And I promise you that is not the case, because I just know it isn't. I've been plenty wealthy, I've been plenty poor, and I've been everything in between, and I have found that my peace and my happiness is not in dollars. And it's in the rest of the way I orchestrate and carry out my life, and the way that I choose and the choices I make. So, oh, what's up, Danny? Give me a wave. So yeah, all right, so that's the end of that one. But today, what's number 7? Today is my favorite, and it will be so easy for you to digest and swallow, I'm sure, because it's so much of the way that the world has been orchestrated, so much of the way the world has been instructed for so long. What's up, Michelle? I'll give you a wave. So we all know the book in the world, the book that it has sold the largest number of copies, that has been read by probably more people than anything in the entire world, but it has sold more copies ever. The one book that sold more copies ever was a book written by lots of people, but it started out in the beginning as and I did this and I did that as creator. And this book that was written, as in the Bible, expresses that we spend our time creating, we spend our time doing, and then we rest. And so I believe this same thing. And I believe this from the standpoint of, because we are the creators, we're the orchestrators, we're the doers of our time, and so today's is relationship. So the top one, the number 7 for today, is relationship. And it's not relationships with everybody else. Today's topic of relationships is relationship with self, and that's one I struggled with mostly in my life, was the relationship I had with myself. And it wasn't because I wasn't focused on it, it was exactly because I wasn't focused on it. It wasn't because I didn't want to, it was because I didn't know how. And I wasn't focused on it. I was very distracted with a lot of other choices and decisions I've made throughout my life that kept me from that. This is the thing. I shared a little bit with you here in the group, some, or on my public profile, but definitely in some of my emails and such for my email list, about my relationship with my partner. And we've really been kind of tripping out over it the last few weeks, because here in about 3 months we're going to celebrate our 20th anniversary of our union together, of our tie here in the end of December. And so thinking about this, we've had a lot of struggle over the years. We've had a lot of hardships. We've had a lot of pain, and we've been through a lot, the two of us. And oh, what's up, Lisa? What's up, girl? We've been through a lot of stuff, and so the thing that for us for a long time was the fact that I was seeking and I was wanting, and I was devoting my time to my family and my own personal growth and relationships and all these things. And my husband was devoting his time to being a caregiver. He was devoting to providing, and he didn't have the clarity about family that I had, but he did have the clarity about dollars and finances and responsibility, and so we clashed for a really long time on a lot of that stuff. These 7 things that I've been sharing with you this week, we clashed on those things so much, because it was like, well, I was like, whatever, if I got dollars, I'm good, I don't need money, I got so much love, I'm good, and he was like, yeah, Cheryl, that doesn't work that way, you need to plan your dollars, and so he would like be crazy with me sometimes, because I was like, so what, we got the money, we're gonna do this, right, this fun thing. And so we struggled a lot with that. Or we struggled with our children, because I wanted to be more tender with like discipline, you know, not punishment, but discipline. I wanted to find the most tender way to discipline and show our children discipline, not punish them, you know, teach them better ways. And so, but we struggled not because of those things. We didn't struggle because of our finances. We didn't, I mean, yes, that added to it. That absolutely added to it. But we struggled mostly because of our lack of relationship with ourselves. My lack of relationship with myself and his lack of relationship with himself. And knowing what that commitment meant to ourselves. So what I mean by that is, like, in our relationship, in our marriage, there's been at least 2 or 3 times where I was like, no, this is it. No more. I'm done. I'm not doing this. This is crazy. I can't handle no more. You know, whatever. And there was a couple times where I even was like full on, you know, went through the steps to file papers and all that. I was like, I need to separate my union from this guy because I just want to do stuff totally different. And that was in the earlier years of our relationship, but, and we just, something kept us from it always. And I know now what that is, because we do have the same interests, and we do have the same goals, and we do have the same beliefs about how to live life. We've just been unclear about how to orchestrate that and how to do that together with other people, when other people have all these expectations and all these wants and all these things, and we have all these beliefs of things that we're supposed to do, you know, all these things that we believe are what we're supposed to be a good partner, or to be a good parent, or to be a good daughter. You know, that was a big one for me. It was like, well, how am I the best daughter, you know, and sibling, that was a big one for me. But the biggest thing in that was I was sacrificing so much all the time to make everybody around me happy. I was sacrificing all the time to make sure that everybody had everything everybody wanted before they even knew they wanted it, you know, because I could have foresight. I could see into it and be like, well, this one's going to need this, and this one's going to need that, and that, blah, 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 you know, and I just had it all. And it wasn't because I was, you know, not that there's something wrong with that and having foresight, but I was doing it out of desperation. I was doing it out of, if I don't do this, somebody's going to fall, or somebody's going to get hurt, or something's going to be crazy, or whatever. And so then I had all these expectations on my partner as well, you know, and so it caused all this strife and all this grief and all this heartache between us, because I was like, well, you're not making me happy, you're not making me feel good, you're not making me feel like you love me, you know, and all this. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, that sounds like a lot of doing, you know, rather than a lot of being. And I've learned that our being is so much more important than our doing, as far as when it comes to people and our relationships. And it's because it starts with us and our relationship with self, and how we be with self, not what we do for self. It's like how we are, how we represent, you know. And so I don't believe that our job here with other people is to do things for them and to make them feel happy and to make them feel special and to make them feel appreciated. You know, I don't believe that that's what we're here for when it comes to relationships, you know, and time with other people. And you know, I'm, like I said, I've been married for 20 years and I have 5 children, and I was very confused about that for a very long time. You know, my oldest son, I really wanted to do everything for him. I didn't want him to want. I didn't want him to need, you know. I wanted him to know how much I loved him, and because I didn't know how to love myself, you know, I was just like, oh, if I just do all the things for him, if I just, you know, if I provide all the stuff he wants, if I try and give him the best education that I can, if I protect him as much as I can, if I shelter him from negative people, if I, you know, just the list was so large that I was just like, he'll just know how much I love him. He'll just know how much I love him, because I do, you know, and I do. And I do love him that much. But I love him so much more now because I've learned how to love myself. I've learned what myself needs. I've learned what I want. You know, and so that comes back to the same thing with my partnership with my husband. It's a case of, I was looking to him for so long to fill so many holes and so many things and so many gaps within myself that it was causing more problems. so many more problems than if, for instance, we just had the financial things, or we just had whatever it was. And it was because I didn't know how to love myself. So I was searching for him. I was looking for that fill. And it didn't occur to me. I mean, I literally did not totally understand this until just months ago. It finally clicked to me, the partnership part of it. Because I kept coming to this place with marriage, you know, and I've got friends, and I've got other people that I know that are on the same kind of path that I am, and they'd been married for a few years, or some of them even married for 10 or 15 or 20 years, and they were just like, oh, well, you know, just after 20 years or after 10 years, we just couldn't make it work. The more awake I started getting, you know, or the more enlightened I started getting, it was just like, he just, you know, just couldn't. And so this is just always struck me so, like, that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't work for me. How is it that I only have, oh, here we go, here comes the train, here it goes. How is it that I only have enough love to the expectation level I have of his performance, you know? And so then I was like, how does this work? How do I finally have that spot where I'm like, no, that's it, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just gonna stop for a second. Have a drink of my coffee. Train's coming. So, maybe I should wait just a second longer. I love the train, I really do, and I hear people all the time, they're like, oh, that train, you know, that annoying train, and it just reminds me of, like, how travel started and how all this whole consumerism world started, you know, and it started with these trains. That's how it all started, getting our stuff all over the country. But anyway, back to the relationship with self and my husband. You know, I didn't understand for a long time that I was putting a lot of layers of expectation on him instead of myself, you know, my standards. And so I realized that the point you come to where it's like, I'm just, you know, you just aren't growing fast enough for me, or you just aren't this enough for me, or you're just not mature enough for me, or you're just not awake enough for me, or enlightened. And I see this, and it's like, well, how does that work? And so you really have to decide for yourself. You can't base it off the other person, you know. And I think that's where a lot of these people are basing these choices for these relationship cuts off of, you know. And it's kind of like, if you've been with somebody for a long time and you've had a relationship, it's kind of like having children, you know. So many children and parents go into parenting and they're like, oh, well, you know, I got to support this kid for 18 years and I can't wait till they get out of my house, or this. And it's like, that seems so dumb. It's like, that seems like, to me, like investing in a new car that you have car payments on for a few years, and then you just kick the thing to the curb and you're like, fuck that car. You know what I mean? It's like, what? And the whole, like, anticipation of not having your children around and things like that, it just doesn't make sense to me. And not to where you can't have them or you can't have times away from them, but it's like, why would I want to have these children, raise these children, devote my time and energy and effort and money and every other thing into these children just to be like, oh, well, they're grown now, I can go have my own life. And it's like, they are my life. You know, why not hang out with the humans that I actually created and have time with and relationships with, versus now I can go find a whole bunch of other people to hang out with? It's like, well, yeah, I can include other people, and maybe I have more time now that I can invest in other people as well. But this concept that people have, we're like, whew, no, my children, you know, it's just like, what? You know, and all these split and broken families. But I understand it, because a lot of times it's coming from parenting and living under so much bullshit that nobody wants to be around each other when they get older. Because, well, I didn't really want to be around I mean, I did. I really, really, really wanted to be around my family. You know, I really wanted to be around my mom. I really wanted to be around my dad and my brothers and my aunts and my uncles and all these people. But as I got older, the older I got, the more I was able to see my own choices and make my own choices and decisions and see the ripple effect of my own behavior and the way I act. I saw that why I was so uncomfortable in my family's homes throughout my whole life. You know, I saw why I was so unhappy all the time in those situations, you know, and around those people. And not all of the people, of course, not all of them, but a lot of them. And it wasn't necessarily the people, it was just the way that they orchestrated their lives, the choices they were making, and as simple as like the food they're eating, you know, the food they're eating, the movies they watch, the books they read, the music they listen to, all these kinds of things end up seeping into everything you do. Everything you do. So you can't, I mean, once you start lining up and getting attuned, like tuned in, like a radio, like you're a radio and you're a receiver of channels and transmissions and all this stuff, and the more attuned you get and the more the signal starts coming in and it's getting crystal clear, the more you're like, I'm not hanging out there, and I ain't doing that, and no, I don't want to see those people. And it's not a screw you, you know, like, it's just a, nah, you can do it your way and I'm going to go do it my way because I don't like your way. Your way is hurtful. Your way is struggle life. You know, I grew up with people that create struggle, create pain, create self-sabotage, you know, and it was the environment I lived in. It was the network of, not everybody, like I said, not everybody, but a lot of it was, and it was from a lack of understanding. I just don't believe that they had ill intentions. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Let's just put it that way. I just won't. But there was some shit, you know, there was some terrible, terrible things go down amongst the people that I grew up with and the home that I lived in as a kid, or the houses, let's put it that way. It wasn't really so much always a home. It was pretty much just houses. It was lots of houses. It was like 18 houses before I was 15 and moved out, you know. It was a lot of houses. And so it's from a lack of clarity about what we want individually. And so that brings us back. I know it took a detour there, but it brings me back to my relationship with my partner. As reference to, I had to stop looking at like, well, he's not doing this way, or he's not understanding it that way, or he just doesn't know. You know, that was a lot of times what I like, this guy, you know, this dude, and it was just, no, it was a lack of clarity to myself. And a few months ago, I literally came to the point where I was so upset and so frustrated and so exhausted by the struggle between myself and my partner that seemed to always come up. It was like we could do so good, we could go so good, things would be so awesome for a long period of time, and then it was just like, what the? And I came to the realization that it was other things in my life that it was something that was affecting me in lots of areas. It was affecting me with my son. It was affecting me in a struggle of relationship with my dad. It was affecting me with other situations in life. So there was a lot there, but it all came back to my own personal commitment. And so I know I'm getting long on this video here, and I said I'd keep it short and then dive into it more next week, but it really is your commitment. So I started asking myself, well, Cheryl, what do you want from this relationship? You know, you've put in 20 years in this relationship. Why would you do that? Why would you put in 20 years to a relationship if it's, you constant, you know, not constantly, but you come back to this place. You come back to this place of just like, what the fuck? You know? And it was like, why? And I had to ask myself these questions, and then it was a case of, oh, right, I want to have a life partner. I want to have someone I know and trust. I want to have someone to sit and share dinner with. I want to have someone to sit and have my children come home with their children and us sharing a family unit. So I had to start asking myself all of these things, and it was like, well, am I still committed to these things? are these things that I obviously, these are the things that I want. Am I still committed to these things? And it's like, yes, I absolutely am. And so with my partnership, it was a case of, well, then where does this partnership come into a problem? Where is this a problem for you? And I realized it was my expectation level of his understanding of my desires, because I'm the one that wants the lifetime partner, and I've always wanted the lifetime partner, and I'm the one that wants to raise my children the way I want to raise my children, and I'm the one that wants to be an entrepreneur and continue that way of life that we've always done, and so I have all these things that I want to do, and it's like, well, does he allow you to facilitate these things for yourself? And it's like, yes, he absolutely does. He always has, and it's like, okay, so then what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And what about that? So I really started having to ask myself some questions and be really, really, really fucking honest with myself, and drop the expectations that I had of him and everybody else, of other people, and of yourself. And you just start asking yourself these questions, and you just start looking at, do you have low standards and high expectations? Because that's often what we have. We have low self-standards. We have low standards for how we're willing to do and operate and accept things in our life. But we have high expectations of everybody else. And so it's like, that gets us bad sometimes. So if you start asking yourself what your standards for yourself are, and remove the expectation level, you'll be like, oh man, well, I want someone committed to me. I want to commit, I want to commit to something. And I want this and I want that. And when you're clear about what you want, it's easier to decide, and it's easier and it's more successful to line up the way that you orchestrate that commitment. So you really have to ask yourself, and it's like in this partnership with with my partner, that relationship with self. It'd be one thing if we had been together and we had these struggles when we were younger and then hit it back once in a while like we do, and it was like, because we do good for a while and he keeps things in control, and then all of a sudden he just pops off and hits somebody, it'd be like, whoa man, you got like some major physical pain issues that go off on everybody. That's completely different. It's so different. In a case of like that, where there's physical abuse or there's verbal abuse, like literal verbal abuse and physical abuse, and I know that there's been times where that's, there's like a gray area with some people. I'm like, well, is it really abuse or just somebody being an asshole? And it's like, we're all assholes. I mean, we really are. And the minute you accept that you can be an asshole and you are an asshole, it's like, the easier everything will get. But it's like, it's just accepting that you can be that way because you have emotions and you're not perfect, and it's okay. It's totally okay. That's when you're able to shift and adjust your behavior. So it's different. So if you can ask yourself those questions and you're living with somebody, or you have a partner, or you have situations in life, it's always you. So you have to ask yourself the questions, because it doesn't matter if it's a friendship or a relationship with a child, or a relationship with a partner, or a relationship with friends, or anything. If your relationship with self is off, you're going to find struggles. Always. Always, always, always. You're going to come back to something and be like, what? Well, they, or he, or something. And it's like, nah, that doesn't happen. It's, no. No. When you got your shit together on yourself and literally staying focused and clear and attuned to that, you can ask yourself, and you can be like, no. I'm just, my standards or my expectations for these other people are way up here, and for myself, they're down here, and like I said, you have to make that choice. But if you really come back to the way somebody does or lives or operates their life is their choice. And your connection with them, does it allow you to maintain the relationship with self that you want? And if you don't know what that is, there you go. That's the problem. But if you can say, yeah, it does. Absolutely. It still allows me to support myself and my relationship with self, then it's not your problem. It's their problem. It's their issue. It's their thing. And so it's like, oh, right. So, you know, you're not, you got to look at it that way. Otherwise, it's a case of, you know, confusion. So, yes, today's 7th Wayfree Way, 7th way, and it's really the top one, but that starts with mine. But it's self. It's relationship with self. And you have to ask yourself, do I want rest today, self? I do. I do want rest today. So today is Sunday. This ended up perfectly that Sunday is a day of rest, you know, and if you need more confirmation for that or more affirmation of that, it's like the good book that's been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, that's been read by more people ever and has all sorts of beliefs and religions and systems built around it. It even says that you rest and you take care of self. And in the book, you know, it talks about I, you know, and so that's what we're talking about here is I. That's what this challenge is all about. So the 7th day is all about you and your relationship with self and what self desires and what self needs and what self wants. And it's really pretty simple, actually, once we get tuned in. So you got to ask yourself those questions, and what's the next best decision for you? What's the next best choice you can make for you? So, yeah, that's it. Self wants exercise. Self wants healthy food. Self wants a clear mindset. Self doesn't want to be stressed, you know? Self doesn't want struggle every day. That stuff sucks. It's not fun. It's not a conducive way to live. It's not a way to run your businesses. It's not a way to run your life. Nothing works that way. So, yeah. So there are your 7 Wayfree ways, all of them. And if you have missed some of them, the videos are here. You can go back and watch them. You can catch them on the YouTube channel. I'm just getting better about taking in, getting those orchestrated together. I've gotten a bunch of them on there finally and loaded. I'm kind of center lining my focus on where I drop my videos, my content, and it's going to get a lot more streamlined here because it's been out a bit, but yeah. So if you love this, if this challenge has helped you, if you haven't watched the videos, go watch the videos. If you have watched the videos, fantastic. If this challenge, scratching the surface of this challenge has helped you, that's awesome. That's amazing. You know, that's what we want. And if you want to continue this chat and get even deeper, I'm not soliciting you, but I'm offering, you know, I have a one-to-one group that I can offer you. It has a very super low monthly membership, but it's an accountability group. And it'll keep you accountable every single day to moving in the direction you want to go, getting the life you want to have, creating and crafting the reality you want to have to live the ultimate human experience. Because that's what it's all about, you know. That's what we're here for, is to have the most amazing ultimate human experience. That's what we're here for, until the next phase, until the next cycle, until the next ascension. So if you want to work on amping up your experience, I can offer you that group. It's like I said, it's a one-on-one or one-to-one connection, daily connection of accountability. I can offer you that at a super low monthly rate. And we are getting ready to kick off our biggest campaign ever. We are teamed up with a nonprofit to do the rest of our stuff. So I have been I've been ordained for about 4 years now. Not throwing down like that, but I am ordained, therefore it allows me to offer a lot of other services and courses and such through that. And so I think this nonprofit way is the way I want to go. That way I can donate my services in other areas and other organizations, mainly and primarily with younger people. In that, we lost signal for a second, but yeah, so I can work with young people, young teens and young adults in that area But we're really going to be kicking that off. And so if you want to be part of that campaign and help support and share that and organizing that, we would love to have you. We got merchandise that we'd love to send you. We'd love to send you something, you know, in connection to that. We've got a bunch of hoodies and t-shirts and beanies and all kinds of cool stuff coming. But the big thing is just tuning in. Tune into this group. Set your notifications to where you get notified, because if you don't have your notifications on for this group, you might miss a lot of the updates and such on here. But yeah, so we'll do a rehash a little bit on some of this next week and then dive into it. But yeah, I really urge you to go back and touch on those videos and get your paper out, write it down, and commit to it, because the more you see it, the more you put it in your face, the more you reiterate with yourself these 7 basic things to focus your time and attention on. Now, they can go very vast and very deep, but these are the basis of the 7 aspects of your life that if you focus your attention and time on them, you will transform your life completely. I know, I have. I went from having $180,000 at least in debt at one point, working my ass off, struggling for time and energy, being doped up on meds and medication, being 60 pounds heavier than I am right now. I mean, there's a list of stuff. And it's different now. It's all different now, you know. I don't have that. I don't have any debt. I don't have that debt over my head, you know. I own my life outright. I own my building. I own my place. I own my business. And I don't say that to brag or, you know, to toot my own horn or anything. I say it strictly to encourage you and offer that light to know that if you want to live independent, you want to live away from all the, you know, if you want to orchestrate and create and live your own life free and clear, it is possible. So let's make it happen. Anyhow, have an awesome Sunday. We're not going to do Church of Unchurched Church this week, and we're not going to do that today. We're going to skip it. We'll go next week. But if you're in that group, fantastic. I'll see you next week. If you're not, you want to be, let me know. Just send me a message. I'll give you the info. But yeah, have an awesome Sunday. And do something that feels good. Every day. Focus your attention on doing something that feels good, and at least take one day a week that is just completely 100% all you. Like Sunday. Lazy day Sunday. All you, baby. Peace out. See ya.